Well. How are you? How was the day? How are things going? It's me again, Dr. Mwinga Chokwe. We're taking this opportunity to break down the concept of mental health and health in general. Somebody has correctly said, without mental health, there is no health. So you cannot talk about health when we do not talk about mental health. And obviously, as WHO has said, that good health or health is not simply an absence of disease, but a state of well-being. That is what we call health. An absence of disease is one aspect of health, but the situation is that you have a good relationship with your environment, your immediate environment. I'm stationed here at Ambalad House in Mombasa, first floor. And we want to demystify mental health. We want to remove that concept, especially in Africans, that mental health is about wazimu. In Swahili they call it wazimu. In English they call it madness. Basically, actually, mental health is a spectrum. It's like a rainbow. The spectrum, one end where one is actually mad. One end of the spectrum we have actual mad people. And the other end of the spectrum we have normal people like you and me doing our own things, very much okay, but still having a mental health challenge. Now, maybe one needs to understand when one is on which spectrum. When one is in the spectrum of madness, then one is out of touch with the reality. We have discussed this before. In this sense, the thought process is impacted negatively, and the individual may start thinking or believing, having some certain beliefs which we call delusions. It's a belief that you hold yourself and is not shared by your contemporaries or your culture, within your culture, but you as an individual hold it as the truth. And we cannot be persuaded against it because you know that is the truth, the whole truth, but nothing but the truth. Yet, it is totally untrue. For example, in a deluded mind, one may believe that he is a special man. I remember we had a patient one day in Mathare Hospital who believed she is Queen Elizabeth. And she was in Mathare Hospital, but as far as she was concerned, she was Queen Elizabeth. Delusions of grandeur. Delusions of grandeur is when one has megalomaniac delusions or thoughts, feeling that he is highly important, huge, maybe very rich. Maybe they think that they are the president of the world, and those are delusions of grandeur. Sometimes the patient or the person may become paranoia. That is where someone feels that they are being attacked, their life is under threat. And in paranoid state, it's a very serious matter because the individual can take action against the perceived persecutors. One feels that they are persecuted. It's worse if you're persecuted by your family or by close friends or relatives. And many murders have taken place in many instances where the individual went out to fight the perceived persecutor and even kill them. Sometimes they kill and remove the private parts and intestines and so on in a rage, a fit of rage. That's paranoia. One is paranoid when you start feeling that people are against you. They are plotting against you. Even as you walk along the streets, you see people pointing at you, or you see somebody laughing. And when they laugh, you assume they are laughing at you. Now, this is the extreme end of mental health, a psychosis, where we say the person is out of touch with the reality. And to make it worse, he doesn't know that he's out of touch with the reality. As far as they are concerned, they are okay. In other words, they have no insight into their illness. But the spectrum downwards, one knows that they are unwell. You can call them neuroses. Things like anxiety, depression. If you know you are unwell and you need to look for help. Okay? It's the same spectrum, but one is the other end, this one is on this other end. In between, you have other conditions that may appear there, including personality disorders. Somebody may present with a specific personality. It may be paranoid, maybe, person feeling inferior and so on. Or somebody may be megaloblastic, okay? Megalomaniac, feeling that is very important and so on. A personality disorder can be either, you can have a psychopath, okay? Psychopathic disorder, when one may be inadequate personalities. They are poorly dressed. You can see that they are not well. But you may have other personality disorders, like a creative personality psychopath. A creative psychopath is a very clever person, is a normal person, and most of the people who plan great robberies, bank robberies, heists, and so on, they are psychopaths, and they don't look sick, but their mental status is out of touch. They can plan things against you while they are laughing with you. Okay? That is a creative psychopath. Others are inadequate, as I've mentioned, and so on. So, and we mentioned earlier on that one may have other conditions, like if one is dependent on drugs. Drugs may lead you to present in a psychotic manner, especially some of the drugs like Mira or Cat. You may present with what you call a paranoid type of psychosis, or you may present with an acute psychotic disorder. An acute psychotic disorder is when a person suddenly becomes psychotic. He loses touch with reality, maybe makes a lot of noise, shouts, starts to see things, that is, has hallucinations, suddenly within 2 weeks. Now, the psychosis can be due to drugs, or it can be due to a viral inflammation. Most psychotic episodes are due to viral inflammation of the brain, and they resolve after some time on treatment, and this patient may actually end up quite well. Whereas other conditions, what we call the functional disorders where you have a mental disorder without any physical illness, no trauma, no physical illness, no infection, no drugs, but one just falls sick. Most of these ones, we have found that they are also within the family circles, where you can have one family with a certain element of mental disorders. Now this we call functional, okay? Things like schizophrenia and bipolar or mood disorders. These are functional disorders. There's nothing physical, but there is an aberration of the chemicals within the brain. And these chemicals, which we call neurotransmitters, if there's an aberration, then one presents with a mental disorder. In the schizophrenia, it attacks mainly earlier on in life, and it may lead to a degeneration of the personality of the individual. Most of the people you see in town running naked or whatever, and in Dubside, most of them suffer from schizophrenia, where there is changes in the feelings and as we mentioned earlier on, changes in the perception. They also have very special experiences in schizophrenia, something we call passivity phenomena. They may feel that their life is being monitored. They feel that the X-rays is targeting them, or even the radio. When the radio is open, they say the radio is talking about them. Passivity phenomena is a condition in schizophrenia, which is part of a mental illness. In fact, it's one of the major mental illnesses. Whereas in mood, what we call mood disorders, one has normally a change in the mood. Sometimes the mood is very labile. They have an infectious mood. They are very happy people. They feel so happy. They talk a lot. And during the attack, they may overspend. They may give out to charity, and generally extremely happy. If the attack continues, then they move from the hypomanic state, where it is very nice people. They are the spirit of the party. When there is a party, they are the ones who make things move. They talk, they make jokes, and so on. But when it goes beyond that, then they enter into manic state. In manic state, this is now what we call a madness, where you see somebody is aggressive, doesn't take care of himself, and can be dangerous to himself and to other people. So in a nutshell, today we will look into those areas, and maybe you may be knowing somebody who has changes in personality. Normally we talk about a change. In the mental disorder, we talk of a change. Somebody who was outgoing and so on, then suddenly they become withdrawn. Maybe they are going into a mood disorder, maybe depression. Or sometimes they may become too affluent, they are talking a lot, and pressure of speech, flight of ideas, that may be going into hypomania and mania. Well, I think that's enough for now. Have a good day.